Hi, this is Louise from Jumpstarting to Primary School Dance, and these are my tips on how to keep primary school children focused within your dance lessons. So first and foremost, you need variety in your lesson, and obviously that comes from being able to plan a really well structured dance class. I like to have lots of variety in my sessions, even if we're just exploring one movement objective like magic and how to create a spell. I might do this in a number of different ways. So I might teach them something, they might practice it, share it back as a group, they might share it back in small groups like pairs. I might put them in groups of 3 and then they could create something to add into our magic dance. There's lots of different things going on. I also like to have timed activities. So I'll say, right, you've got 2 minutes and you've got to create your own magic spell. This really helps to keep the momentum of the sessions going. Also, you need to really consider your topic selection and make sure it is appropriate for the age group that you are teaching. So, for example, doing something about baby animals is not going to be appropriate for Year 6 children, and likewise, teaching a lot of choreography based on a particular style of dance is not going to work particularly well with younger children, like the early years, foundation stage. So choose something which is relevant to the children. I tend to use topics that they are doing in the classroom, and that helps to keep the children engaged. Particularly with the little ones, I like to use a lot of props. So for example, if I'm doing something on fire, I might bring in my scarf so we could perhaps create a bonfire together. So not only is that helping me achieve the movement objective of fire, which is flickering and spark and continuous movement, but also that it's engaging the children a little bit further, particularly for those little ones, so that they're concentrating on holding that prop in their hands and remembering what it is that they need to do. Props are great, as I said, because they help to keep the focus, and I use feathers, scarves, elastic bands, lycra squares, feathers, sponges. They're just brilliant, particularly for early years, and I use a bit in Key Stage 1 as well. Something else to keep your classes varied, which will help to keep the children engaged, is to use a good choice of music. So use something which is upbeat in tempo, that feels current, but not necessarily something that's actually in the pop charts, because there will be lyrics that they will know and they might want to sing along to, and also there might already be a dance and they'll be thinking about the pop video, so that's not going to help keep the children engaged within your sessions. So choose something which has a current feel to it, but not necessarily something the children know intimately. I tend to use things like Daft Punk and the Chemical Brothers because they do feel quite modern, but at the same time there's not a lot of lyrics in there. So that's definitely something to consider. Also use 2, 3, maybe even 4 different types of music within your session. Something for your warm-up, 2 or 3 in your main activity, and then something at the end. Again, that just helps to keep the momentum of the session and helps to keep the children engaged in what they're doing. Sometimes it's nice to actually let the children choose the track. So you could do this even just for your warm-up and say, would you like this one or the other one? Or even you could get the children to bring in something. Obviously you'd have to check it first and make sure it was appropriate, but they could perhaps bring in their own music for the warm-ups and the cool-downs. Again, just helping to keep the children engaged in what you're doing. If you have got very little children, then something that can help keep them a bit more focused is to contain them a bit more, particularly if you have got a big room. I mean, I've taught in some sports halls which are just ginormous, and little children, when they see a big space, they just want to fill their bodies with it. So I try and do some containment with a bench or with some little cones and just mark off an area in which we're going to be dancing in. And likewise with the use of space, something else that helps to keep the focus is to use it in lots of different ways. So I might say, right, everybody that was standing at the front, now come and stand at the back. So we're just swapping it around, changing who they're standing with. I might get them to go and do something in a corner if there's a lot of space, or I might get them to spread out. So just think about how you're using the space so that there's a lot of variety within that. Children love ownership of what they're doing. So it's nice to add an opportunity for that because again it helps to keep their focus within the sessions. So it might just be as simple as in the warm-up saying who could give us a stretch to do at the end of the warm-up, or who could suggest an action we could all copy to warm ourselves up. Equally, at the end of the session, you could just ask them for an idea about how we might do a bit of relaxation to finish the session off. They also love choreographing and adding in their own ideas, so allow for opportunities for them to choose something within the sessions where they've got control over what they're doing. Finally, if you are working on some choreography where you're going to need to keep repeating something from week to week, then it's always good to do something new at the start of a session. So if you are learning a dance that you're going to perform in maybe 5 or 6 weeks' time, if you start your session with what you did last week, what you tend to find is that children use most of their focus and their energy on what they already know, and then when you're trying to add something on or create something new to go with, sometimes they're not at their best at that point in the session. So at the start of your session, once you've warmed up, I like to start with the new thing that they're going to be doing, and then towards the end of the session, when they're getting a little bit more tired, that's when I like to repeat the stuff that we did the week before. Alternatively, what you could do is use what you did the week before as your warm-up. So you quickly go through it, you could mark it through, and then build up the energy and the impact of it so that you're warming up gradually. But then at the main part of the session, you're moving on to new material. So I hope today I've helped you to learn some new tips on how to keep your children engaged within your dance sessions. I hope they've been useful. Please get in touch and let me know. You can tweet me at Louise Jaggard. You can email me on the website details here, or put a comment in the box below. So thank you very much for your time. Let me know as well if there's anything you would like to hear about in the future, because I can do some blogs or vlogs about those topics too. Till the next time, thank you.